This is a Film Stories original podcast.
Mother's Day is almost here, and you can get her the most beautiful time-tested gift around. A watch she can wear every day from Movement. Whether mom's into classic dress watches, rare and refined ceramics, or tried and true bestsellers, Movement has something she'll love. And right now you can save big on the best Mother's Day gift ever with up to 50% off site-wide during Movement's Mother's Day sale at mvmt.com. Again, that's up to 50% off at mvmt.com.
Oui, Magis. Of minute 39 of the X-Files Fight the Future Minute. I'm Sarah Blair, and I've got Caredwen Foley back with me again. Hello, Caredwen.
Hello, Sarah.
Long time no chat.
I know, right?
So we are talking about minute 39, which begins at the timestamp 38 minutes and ends at 38:59. And we are going to dig into a little bit of dialogue with Mulder and Scully in the morgue in this minute. All right, so we've got Mulder here, and they've got this mysterious jelly body. They've rolled it out of the refrigerator facilities into the pathology lab. And, Scully says, I couldn't tell you what happened, what killed this man. I'm not sure anybody else could claim to either. And so, of course, Mulder is going to be like, all right, Scully, you do the autopsy, and I'm just going to head out and see you later. Classic Mulder.
You got a body to cut up now.
Yep, let's get this done. All right, you take care of all the gross stuff, and I'm going to go do some other things, like head over to the bar and talk to this mysterious man that,
I also don't know if it's meant to be, but I find that moment where it goes from, like, this sort of quiet, understated exchange about, I'm not sure what killed this man. I'm not sure if anyone could claim to know, to this, like, jump cut watching them crash through the doors of the autopsy bay. I don't know if it's meant to be as funny as it is, but just the suddenness of it. Like, there is something about it that can read, too, as, like, sort of thriller, suspenseful, like, gotta get this done so quickly. But also, it's just kind of hilarious.
It is. We're on a mission. Yeah. And Scully's got to do the fastest autopsy of her life with all of these.
Yeah, we kidnapped a dead body.
She's, like, presented with this mysterious pathogen. And she's like, ooh, science. And, she wants to probably, like, really dig into it and give it time that it deserves and, like, make lots of notes and categorize everything and catalog everything and
easily reference everything.
Exactly.
Yeah, and meanwhile, this naval guard up at the front, the information desk or whatever, like the check-in desk, is like calling the general to see if they're supposed to be there. Mulder's like, okay, I'm going to dip. You can stay here and deal with the fallout of whatever that is.
Exactly. Not to mention, he's like, Mulder's all like, well, we're being blamed for this man's death. I'd like to know what he died of, wouldn't you? And she's like, well, yes, but I mean, wait a second, Mulder. You're just going to, like, leave me here with this situation.
Yeah, I'd like to know what he died of, and I'd like you to find out what he died of.
And I'll be right back.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that, they're... It's not like Mulder is going to be able to make himself useful sticking around here. I'm sure that it's more productive for her to be here doing this and him to be off doing. I forget even what he goes and he goes to Kurzweil's place and hangs out, I think, in the next minute. Yeah. But, like, the lack of solidarity is really striking.
Seriously. Like, at the very least, he could make himself useful standing watch at the door and keeping an eye out so that she can focus. Because I cannot even imagine how difficult it must be to try to, like, do this super fast autopsy and try to even, like, wrap your brain around what is going on and also be like, oh no, was that footsteps? Do I hear somebody coming? God. What do I do?
I'm sure that Scully at this point has had a lot of practice, you know, trying to do stuff under the gun and being worried about, you know, being about to get caught. But this is just like, here's a super gross body and here's an autopsy bay you've probably never, like, used before, and you're not supposed to be here, and somebody's going to figure that out in, like, probably a matter of minutes, let's be real.
Right. Yeah, it's quite a challenge for Scully, but if anybody could do it, I believe Scully could do it.
She can do it. I believe in her.
She is such a badass. Also, not only can she do this autopsy under, you know, this time constraint, but she's got the amazing hair to go with it.
The styling in Fight the Future is unbelievable.
Right.
Like, this is maybe there are a couple other episodes I can point to, especially around this time, where the styling is really good, but, like, I don't know if they have ever looked this good in the series.
Whoever they hired for that makeup and hair
crushed
is
it.
Just
Yeah,
absolute,
on point.
Yes, absolute pro. 10 out of 10.
It's also really cool to me how effectively they use, like, both styling and the lack of styling in this film.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit later on, the like the post-Antarctica scenes, I think they do a really nice job of, like, having Scully go in, you know, barefaced to talk to the panel to kind of demonstrate the seriousness of this and, like, the harm that she suffers. But yeah, I mean, my God, like, you take two, like, ridiculously beautiful people and then you make them look even better. What even?
Exactly.
Come on.
Exactly.
The rest of us are just like, okay.
Right. Yes. One other thing that I did, just because this is what I do as a writer, I like to know about the travel times to be, like, the most accurate. So because they arrived, the timestamp couple minutes back when we first started our minutes together, they arrived at the hospital, Walter Reed Bethesda Naval Hospital, at 4:04 a.m. it says on the timestamp. And I noticed in this minute, right at the last bit of our minute, it says that Mulder catches, like, he's in this cab, and it's 4:50 a.m. And I was like, really? They walked into the Naval Hospital and talked about this body, and he got Scully set up and going on this autopsy, and caught a cab and made it back to DuPont Circle. So I wanted to know exactly how, because I've been to Washington, D.C., but I'm not familiar with the layout. So I Google mapped, and it's about 25 minutes-ish. I'm not sure about traffic and all that, but I'm guessing at 4 o'clock in the morning. It's not going to be a lot. It's going to be light traffic. So about 20 to 25 minutes. Or it would have been, so he would have had to do all of this whole scene that he did, like walking in, talking to Scully, walking out, would have had to take place within, like, a 20-minute time frame.
I can see that. Yeah, it's pretty plausible. Especially since they know they're in a hurry. Like, they know they have to move quickly. It'd be kind of hard to get in and get your bearings and stuff and just, like, you know, figure out where the morgue is and things like that. But presumably they've been trying to get in and out quickly. It's way better than in at the beginning of Demons, when Mulder is in Rhode Island and Scully drives there from DC in, like, 3 hours. Yes. Come on.
Yeah, that's pushing it. She would have had to, like, put the pedal to the metal, right?
Yeah, or, like, fly.
Take one of those black helicopters. Maybe.
Yeah, for sure. Teleport. I mean, you know, clearly some magic stuff exists in the University X-Files.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. But so I think it's we're going to be like Mythbusters and say it's plausible. Mm-hmm. They could make that trip.
Yeah.
So accurate. That'd be one of the the few details in the X-Files that is truly on point,
Yeah,
accurate.
and they didn't even have map quests then. Like somebody like looked at a map and was like, okay, you could do that. Yeah. Or they guessed.
So yeah, I thought that was an interesting little tidbit. Mm-hmm. Now that we know that's accurate. But yeah, that's always fun to do. I always Google map my directions when I'm writing about a place.
Very smart, very important, because nothing will unleash, hordes of angry critics like easily falsifiable factual details.
Yeah. They didn't do their research.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They didn't Google this one thing that's completely trivial.
You had one job. Yeah. So we've got our enigmatic Dr. Scully has been left at the hospital. Poor Scully.
Womp womp.
To do this autopsy. We're leaving her there. We're leaving Mulder in the cab. We will let Kurt North take over and Katie Doe take over for us. And I think we'll leave it at that. But this has been Minute 39 of the X-Cast Fight the Future Minute. Caredwen, where can we find you online?
I am available in the Patron Basecamp group. I'm on the Facebook X-Files Basement group, and I'm on Twitter at Caredwen, Caredwen. Probably ranting about politics and occasionally posting observations about whatever television show or movie I'm watching.
Excellent. We will look for you there, and you can always find me, Sarah Blair. I'm always around on Twitter, so you can find me at Sarah, SarahLBlair on Twitter. And if you want to check out my novel, Darkness Shifting, you can read that too. It's good stuff. X-Files meets King Arthur style. So,
sweet.
Yeah, good times. But, yes, so we will leave you with that, friends. And until next time, trust no one.
Previously on the We Made This Network. By Projection Light.
Dickinson also brings the audience's attention to a then unknown Audrey, who shines like a bright, pure beacon the whole film. It's quite amazing to think that only a year after this film, she would be cast in the film that would catapult her to superstardom and garner her an Oscar win. But it's also not difficult to believe. Her performance is so unaffected, as if she's living the part of Nora, which, as I've said, she almost had already. And it's also wonderful to see her dance, particularly during the audition scene towards the start of the film, where she flits and spins like an angel. It made me think of how she had danced during the war for audiences who were not allowed to clap due to the prohibition of public gatherings, but how she brought joy to those people as she brings joy to everyone who's watching this film every time she dances.
Don't say the C word.
Sex, drugs and rock and roll isn't a cliche. I've seen it all. There's a unique group of groupies that feel the need to collect, if that's the right term to use, like all of the band members, as in to sleep with all the band members and all of the crew.
Oh, wow. So they kind of, do they work their way from the top down, or do they work their way from the bottom up?
Yeah, get to whoever they can first. And it would always be me and one of the band members they'd never get. And I was quite proud of that. I was like, yeah, I'm the one that you don't know about. So like, you can never brag. I'm not a bragging right.
That's pretty admirable. And is there a particular reason why you're not going to shag the groupies?
At the time, I was a virgin and I didn't want my first time to be with just some random lady on the road.
Bloody hell, that really is admirable. I think I'd have thrown my virginity at anybody, to be honest with you.
It got to the point a few years on, like, I was like, I'm thinking about it now. But no.
The Time Is Now, a Millennium podcast.
The way that he's offered that job, I think he's done that before. It's not out of character for him to go into situations like that. I know it's done with a bit more levity earlier on the season in Goodbye Charlie, where he goes to speak to the social worker, and he lays off all of his problems, which is a great scene in that episode.
Yeah, it's very hard to have that sort of levity when you're dealing with literal Nazis, to be fair.
Well, yeah, it's a slightly different take on the same kind of.
Yeah, I'm wondering whether the Mel Brooks sequence of that would probably be something to behold.
Check out all of these shows and more on the We Made This podcast network.
Have you heard about the 2018 study that showed half of prenatal vitamins tested had unacceptable levels of heavy metals? No? Well, now you have. I'm Kat, mother of 3 and founder of Ritual, the company making traceability the new standard in the supplement industry. I remember staring at my prenatal vitamins and finding all these things I was trying to avoid: high amounts of heavy metals, synthetic colorants, and unnecessary ingredients. So, at 4 months pregnant, I quit my job and started Ritual because I believe that all women deserve to know what they're putting in their bodies and why. I'm so proud of our prenatal vitamin. The ingredients are 100% traceable, it's third-party tested for microbes and heavy metals, and recently received the Purity Award from the Clean Label Project. You see, we trace like a mother because, let's be honest, no one cares quite like a mother. But don't just take my word for it. Trace for yourself with 25% off at ritual.com/prenatal.